Just early because we're gonna chitty chat it up for a couple minutes, because that's fun, right? Right, Greg?
Yeah, coming on early hopefully lets people see and then maybe join before we actually start chatting.
Yeah, I see that Seymour Digital Media is live. Look at that!
Could
Wow,
could be good. Yeah, I see you went live in the group.
and more fun. Uh,
And
if
more fun, yes.
if you're just joining us, we jumped on a bit early. Have a little banter here before we get started talking about keywords and picking the right keywords for SEO, or AKA your website. Right, Greg?
It'll be fun. I don't do a ton of keyword planning, but I think it's super interesting because you really do need to know what the proper words are.
Yeah, it's true. We
I've come
still
across a couple of clients in the past who, were completely using the wrong terminology. So,
Yeah, I find that if you ask people what they want to rank for and then you check their website, you're like, there seems to often be a disconnect. You can't. I worked with this company a long time ago that was a franchise for schools in the States, and they didn't want to use the word. They sold franchises, and they didn't want to use the word franchise on their website. And I was like, well, how do you expect to show up in Google? So, and that leaves the SEO person only doing meta descriptions and SEO titles. Like, it doesn't leave much room, right? But
yeah.
we're not starting there yet. So, Greg, how was your holidays? You going to say Happy New Year to everybody?
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Today is my day in the group as well. So I had a rare post. I
Ooh,
remembered rarely
really?
to actually post today.
So what Greg is saying is that he's the moderator today, and sometimes he forgets. So if you have a question about websites, today's the day to get undivided attention about websites. We pick days for the moderators because each moderator is an expert at something. So, if you're joining us, say hello. We got, you need this so much, and it feels daunting. Yes, keyword research, can be daunting. How do I know what people are searching for? Ooh, that's a great question.
Hmm.
I'm going to go and look and see who's asking the question. Tell us who's asking, but let's answer that question first.
It could
So,
be Aura, because I know she was posting on my daily post. I think she was a little bit excited for the topic since she had a question just a couple days ago. Yeah.
right, it is. So this is probably the greatest question to ask because it. So the answer kind of is it depends. Now, do you have an existing website? That's the first question we ask. Right? I'm super excited for this topic too. I live this. I'm actually going to be teaching in my mastermind today about picking keywords for specific pages and how you go about that whole process. So not only are we talking about it, but I'm teaching it. That was
Well, let me. I don't know if you have a format for what you want to go over today, but I want to ask you a question because I think it's probably a good starting point. And what I tell a lot of people when they're thinking about keywords is that first thing you want to do is you want to think about all of the terminology used in your business or in your industry and like write it all down and write down even variations of that terminology, and what you're thinking you feel people should find you for. And once you have all of that written out, then you have a base to start with on your actual keyword research to find out, are the things I'm thinking about using on my website actually things that have search volume and stuff like that. And then you obviously get into the more meat of what today's topic will be, is actually going through the process of
yes.
figuring out that stuff. So do you typically go through that with your clients and ask them to write down all of these things to start off?
So if we it depends on if you have an existing website already or if you are just starting out. So there are slight differences, right? If I'm just starting out, I don't have some of the resources that I have at my fingertips. But yes, the brain, dump.
Dump.
Right now, you're going to be working in spreadsheets because this is the easiest way, right? And yes, so getting those keyword ideas out, and just getting them there, because you never know if they're actually the keywords you should be using or shouldn't be using, or maybe they should be part of what you're doing. So although I say you pick one keyword per page, the concept is you pick one keyword theme per page on your website, but with the intention that you'll rank for a lot of keywords. So the first thing, as Greg said, was
Can you
brain
hang on?
out.
Can you define what you mean by keyword theme?
Okay. Um, so I sell SEO. Yeah. SEO can be a theme, but a better theme would be e-commerce SEO, right? So maybe speaking to that more, or SEO for real estate agents, or so kind of narrowing your scope on who you're talking to. But the first idea, yeah, get all those words out. But now here's the best part. This is the thing you do most, the low hanging fruit, um, and then we'll talk about the whole process, which is if you have Google Search Console, this is what Google thinks your website is ranking for. And Google will tell you what each page on your website is ranking for with those keywords and what position they are in Google, not other search engines. So if you use Google Search Console, you can also see keywords in Google My Business in your measures. If you create a Bing Places or a Bing Webmaster Tools, which are super easy to do, it's literally 3 clicks of a button. Those will give you places where you should first be looking for your keywords if you have a website. That's if you don't have a website, or you just started your business, the keywords there you're not going to get that many. Now,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so you have your list of keywords, right? You're like, yeah. And then you go to Search Console. Greg mentioned search volume. Okay. Oh, this is a very important question to answer before we get into things. Keywords or keyword phrases. Let's talk about keywords for a second. A head term is a keyword that is 1 to 2 words. That's a head term. So it's things like water, bottled water, beach, SEO. That's a head term. Huge search volume, not going to rank for it. We always have to be thinking about the search engine results pages. So when I type something into Google, what shows up, right? A head term has a lot of search volume, but if I worked with a water company and they wanted to show up for the term water. Now, when I search water on Google, I'm probably a grade school person and probably doing a project on water. Do I really want to learn about bottled water? Or do I want to learn about the percentage of water across the land? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
head terms aren't, useful for most people, right? And so then you have long tail keywords, and that is a keyword phrase. So, you're looking at 3 or more words, and they're more specific, so they get lower search volume. And where you check search volume is in Google Search Console, Google Keyword Planner, which is actually free if you know how to sign up. It's in Google Ads, or any other number of resources, right? There's so many places to find keywords. Like, people also ask, just so many places, right?
And for
um,
you, do you feel you go to the planner to do the search on the main keywords that you've identified, the head terms, I
mm,
guess, to be able to see what your long tail versions should be by putting in your head term and seeing what the suggestions are for the for what people search for around that head term, and then decide which of the long tail you should optimize certain pages for?
Actually, generally, no. But that is a good strategy. So I wouldn't pass that up. I would go to Search Console and find my long tail keywords there. And then so here's a trick. Go to Google Search Console, click around, go to performance, and then click on a query, and then click on pages, and do back and forth. And so you can actually pick a specific page and then go and see all the queries for that page, which are keywords, right? Um, oh, so I mean, so the question is, I meant within Google Search Console, I think they are under performance queries. Yes, they are. So you're going to Keyword Planner or Search Console, and you're going to performance tab, and then you're picking a page, and then that's going to be filter, right? You're creating a page as a filter, and then you're going to look for the keywords on that page. Then you're looking at the search volume for the last 16 months and for the last 3 months, right? So search how we do it. Now, different SEOs do things differently. So Phelan and I, we focus on search volume and competition. A lot of SEOs will focus on keyword density, which you're going to get from like SEMrush, Ahrefs, Moz. They're all going to have different, right? And density just means how hard the keyword is to rank for. How you can find that out easily is go incognito or use a tool like free tool, SEO tool, technical SEO. Excuse me. They have something called Merkle. You can just type it into Google, and you can see in there some interesting things. But let's get back to it. Very important. Okay, keywords. You're searching for them. You found some, right? Gone to Search Console. You found a list. You have a list of keywords. You're going to the Google Keyword Planner. And you are going to search in there, and you're going to find the volume, and you're going to find the competition, right? Low competition, high volume. The other things you can look for in Google Search Console is if you have a low click-through rate. So say there's like high volume, which means lots of impressions, and you have like terrible click-through rate. Click-through rate is impressions divided by clicks, right? That makes your click-through rate. Higher the click-through rate means the higher you'll end up going up in the Google rankings because more people are clicking. If you get in the top 3 spots of Google, like the 3rd spot, you get 30% of all the clicks, right? So what does that mean? Well, 30% of whatever the search volume is can be huge. It can be a game changer. We ranked in the top 3 spots for Google Analytics 4, and it changed our website users. It doubled it with one page. So it's crazy. Hey, Greg, ask a question. I'm going to cough.
Oh, well, we have a comment in the chat about not following along with the Search Console spot to go. Can you go over that again? There, it's in performance, and then
Yeah.
can you explain how to get to where?
Okay, so if you picture this, you type into Google Search Console, you click on whatever blue button that takes you into the account. On the left-hand side, always with Google products, you have a horizontal menu. The second one down is going to be the performance tab. So click on that. And then you'll notice that you'll have a graph at the top. And then underneath the graph, you have a table, right? The table has
there's four items there, and
yeah.
this was something I needed to get used to when I went in. Is not all of them are turned on, and if you can click each one. So each of those 4 boxes on this page: total clicks, total impressions, average click-through rate, average positioning. If they're not all colored, click them, and they will show on
in
the
the
graph.
table. Yeah. So show on the graph and on the table. And just so you know, it took me a really long time to figure that out. Like a really long time. And once I did, I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? So you're in the performance tab, and you notice there's a graph, and underneath the graph, there's a table. And if you look in between the graph and the table, there's there's a vertical menu, and it has queries, pages,
countries,
devices,
search appearance, dates,
and dates, right? So what you want to do is go to pages, pick a page, maybe your home page, maybe the second most visited page. So click on a page. So go to the pages tab and click on one, and then you'll see it at above. It should filter it out. Now, if you struggle with that,
Yeah.
above your graph, there will be filters for 3 months and 6 months, like 3 months. So you can change that to 16. You can also create another filter and just filter for a page and just type whatever is in your URL, and you can,
And people can see the filter. It's basically the thing right above those four boxes, and it'll show that it's web or the last 3 months or the specific page you're on. That's just so everybody knows that's where the filters are, and you can X them out and get back. So if you go into the filters and you want to turn one off or add a new one, by default it's 3 months. If
Mhm.
you wanted to add, like you said, the how many months? 6 months
6 months. I do. So I do 16. So here's the thing. There's you're feeling overwhelmed, and maybe you're feeling like this is really advanced. The reality is it's only advanced because it's new to you. And all you have to do is, and I say this in my class, you gotta, so geeky, click around and get down. Like, you just click around, get familiar. As you get familiar, click on everything in Google Search Console. Go through all the things in the horizontal menu. Fear is based on what we don't know. And as we get more accustomed to using things, we become more confident and more comfortable. You're just at the beginning. So that's all
so
that means.
if we can get back, so we've gone through the process of getting in there, making sure the things you might want to see are turned on, seeing the tabs at the bottom where you could filter, go to pages and choose a specific page. But then when you want to see what that does is it gives you the filter at the top of just looking at that page. But then when you this is another usability for Search Console that is weird. When you go back down, because you've clicked that specific page, you can go back down and choose one of the other tabs again to see the information, but it's just that page that you specified,
Yeah.
which is kind of a weird thing. Like, it's for me, it's a usability thing that's kind of odd. So just to explain to people, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Once you've chosen a page in that section, if you try to go to any one of those other tabs, it's just showing you the queries or the countries or the search
For that
appearances for
page.
that specific page. So that's how then you would go to queries and see what your top queries are just for that single page.
Yes. What I do oftentimes is I go and I download. So once I picked a page, if it's confusing for you to go from page and then click on the other tab query, just pick a page, right? So it's a filter at the top, and then click on the download button on the left hand side. Um, and you'll download all the material, and it'll have just that page, all your keywords, for that page that you're ranking for, and it'll
Just an
have
FYI,
impression.
the download is says export. So
Yes.
yeah, export. If you hit the export, it will export you a CSV or
Yeah. You have
Excel
choice of
file.
three.
Yeah.
And I find that really helpful because then that's where you start playing. So that's where you can use conditional formatting. So remember, we're looking for high volume. And if you're using Google Search Console, you're looking for high volume, and you'll see in Google Search Console, there's something called position. It is the last thing. Position actually means placement on Google. There are 10 positions on one page. So if you have a listing of 20, like say it says, it's saying 20, right? Position 20. What does that mean? Well, there's 10 on a page. So 20 is the bottom
Last
of
name,
page
second page.
2,
Yeah.
right? So you're looking for it. If you rank in between the third position and 20th position, it's much high. You have a much better chance to use a keyword in those positions for that specific page to rank, because it's easier to move from 20 to 3 than it is to move from 60 to 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know this may sound confusing, but what you're looking for is position between 1 and 20 and a high search volume, right? Most of us have a click-through rate of 0, so you don't have to worry about that. But yes, Here we go. Are we looking for the number of clicks only? No, you're looking for the number of impressions. Um, you know, yes. So Google Search Console only shows you information that's happening on Google. And to be honest, because of Google My Business, the two, sometimes they cannibalize each other's keywords. It's kind of annoying. And what that means is just you're not going to see the clicks there. So don't worry about any clicks. All you're looking for is the impressions, right? Clicks mean people went to your website. We're trying to get people to your website. So we don't care about those people that went there necessarily, right? You're caring about click or impressions. So impressions mean search volume, right? So
Yeah, your impressions and your position, I would say.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the two things. So what I do is I actually use conditional formatting inside the Google Sheet, and I find the highest impressions, and I find the keywords between 3 or 4 and 20, right? If I'm picking a keyword string, a phrase for a client, I am, trying to see what's going to get them the best result. And positions 5, 6, 7, it's going to be much easier to move up. Now, that being said, there's a couple other things we really need to discuss, which make keywords research even more fun now. So, Greg, we talked about this last week. So you've picked a keyword. You're like, I think I want to use this keyword. I'm going to use this main keyword as my number one phrase on my page, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do you know if you can beat your competition? How do you know what your competition is doing, right? Well, you have to go over to the search engine results pages, right? So you have to go search on Google. Incognito. If you don't know how to get to incognito, 3 dots, left-hand side up beside your little name on Google or your little image icon. And incognito just means that Google's not tracking what you're doing. They're kind of still tracking, but and what you're doing is you're looking to see who. So for me, my biggest competition, like the big wig, the one I'll never beat, is like Neil Patel. He's an SEO god, basically. And so if he's ranking, or if other big sites like Moz or Search Engine Journal are ranking for that keyword, I know I don't have a choice. As a business owner, if I'm in e-commerce and I sell leotards, right? And I picked black leotards with sparkles as my keyword. And I go over to Google and I search in the search engine results pages, and Walmart comes up or Amazon, you might not win, right? So then you want a longer tail keyword, and that's where we get into some fun. Because so you picked your keywords or your keyword string, your phrase, and you've gone and you picked your keyword phrase from either Google Search Console or from some other research, and you've gone into the search engine results pages and you've looked to see if you could possibly beat your competition, right? Like, are there big followers? And you're like, okay, now we have to think about a couple other things, and we have to think about Google and the algorithms that have happened in the last couple of years. So there's 3 we need to account for. So there's BERT, which is biodirectional. So what that means is Google used to take each keyword and then it used to show results for any articles that had all those keywords, right? Now Google can actually understand. So leotards would be the head term, right? For the black sparkly leotards. Leotards is the head term. Black sparkly is like, it's a modifier, right? So then what are people doing, right? When they're going to buy something, they usually type buy, right? So that's another modifier. So you have a head term.
What? Near me is always big.
Near me in the last couple of years, right? So basically what you're starting to do is you're starting to account for the algorithms, right? So it's not just having the keywords, it's search intent, so the BERT algorithm with the biodirectional helps Google understand what we actually want, right? Because it's Google's job to bring us the most relevant information for our searches in the shortest amount of time. Because if they didn't do that, we wouldn't be there. We wouldn't be searching on there. So basically there's BERT, so that's biodirectional. That's all you need to know. And then there was MUM. And MUM is an algorithm update that Google can now all at the same time, read information 75 different languages at the same time. It can read video and images better. So we want to account for that. Now, why do we want to account for that? Because after we've picked our keyword string and
Mm-hmm.
we've gone in the search engine results pages and looked what's being searched, what's showing up, our images, our video, that's going to help us with our content, right? We have a step 2, hold on, incognito search on Google for those keywords and see the results. If there are really big fish already at the top of the, forget about it. Now get creative with long tail. Yes, longer tail. So think about search intent. So when I'm ready to buy a television, right? Say I know I'm going to buy a TV, so I start doing my research, and I'm going to look at best TV with colors, right? But look at the word I used, best, right? Or compare prices, or so buying language for us is different than informational language. So 80% of searches are informational, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm ready to buy a product, like I bought a Roomba this year, right? Now, when I searched like, which is the one best for cat hair. Well, is it going to be a sales page that I want to land on if I'm, talking about cat hair and a Roomba? Or is it going to be a blog post about 50 best Roombas for cat hair, right? Probably going to
Mm-hmm.
be on a blog post because it's informational. But that blog post is going to now make me a reader and a user. And then I'm probably going to go back there, right? Depending on the content, or I'm going to click a link in there that's going to take me to a sales page. So when you're thinking about keywords, you got to think about intent and pages. What is your user doing? What do they want? We know what you want. You want to sell something, but what does
Mm-hmm.
your user want? And so you're going to have content on your website for all different facets of the funnel and all facets of the funnel. So the top, right? That's informational. 80% of searches are all informational. People are just learning, right? The middle. So what is the middle? It's mofo, middle of funnel. Mofo. Um, so middle of funnel is
I
is
don't like
is
that.
it's going to be comparative research, or learning specs, or just more in depth, more related to I'm closer to the buying stage, right? um, this is a whole process. And then the buying stage is going to be buy, coupon, deal. Like those are the kind of keywords that we're looking at. So although you're picking a keyword for one page, you're speaking
Mm-hmm.
to many things, right? The keyword just keeps you focused. The keyword string keeps you focused. Then you want to think about intent, buying intent, where they are in the funnel, what shows up in the search engine results pages, because then you know kind of what content. You'll also find a lot of keywords that you can utilize. When you start typing into Google and you get the auto like all the keywords that
Auto suggest.
auto suggest. So if
Yeah.
you get the auto suggest, those are all keywords, and Google's showing those, saying lots of other people have searched this. There's a fun game you can play on Google, and it's called What If, or What Is. And what you do is you go and search What Is on Google and What If on Google randomly, and you'll probably get the latest news. Right? I found out some news things that I didn't know. I was like, oh, really? I'm like, who is this person? Because what if blah blah blah? You find it, and what is, I don't know. It's a fun game you can play. You can even play with your kids. I think maybe. But so those are actually indicators that those keywords have search volume. People are searching those things, and you can actually speak to them. So in the search engine results pages, we have like people also ask. So those are the questions people ask. And so maybe you want to answer those in your article. So although we're picking a keyword or a string of words that equate to what a keyword is nowadays, what we're trying to do is trying to give the user the best experience by answering all their questions, getting them the best information. And that's why you end up starting to rank for a lot more keywords. So
Mhm.
it's fun, right? Who's having
Well, we're
fun?
gonna we're gonna have to do a part two to this because we're already out of time, and I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of of things to go through for keyword research.
You can get lost in it for sure. It like, I basically, so I go page by page. So although you do this brain dump and you get all these keywords, I literally go to Google Search Console and I go page by page. I literally check the search volume, check the position per page.
Mm-hmm.
And then I take that keyword and then I go test it in the SERPs. I go test it in the Google Keyword Planner. I go test it, to see what shows up, to see if I can rank. And then if you're wondering, well, could I beat this person? Like, how do I know if I can beat this person? It's not Walmart. It's not, whatever, Walgreens. How do I know? Well, you have to figure out, are they doing good SEO? So what's good SEO? That's the on-page stuff you're going to start looking at, which is titles and how many times the keyword, length of article, like images. And so that's keyword research is the beginning of the process. And so that's why you do that brain dump, because you have a list of keywords you can always go back and look at. Sometimes you're going to get the wrong keyword. You're going to choose the wrong one. I've done it. And sometimes you're going to choose the right one, and you're going to get better over time. I think that's the lesson.
One of the things I wanted to point out also with
Is that I'm
the
awesome? That's
Search
right.
Console was the fact that you can drill down to that a specific page to see what you're currently ranking for, and it's also a great way to see what that is, because if you are trying to rank for something that's not there, it means you're doing something wrong, and you either need to like use those keywords or key phrases on that page more,
Mhm.
as opposed to going to that page, seeing what you are ranking for, and then working on that to make it even better. In the first place, your word that you think you want to be ranking for might not even be there, which means you might not be using that on your page at
Mhm.
all, and you need to get that on.
I showed that to a client yesterday. If you just go to a web paste, if you just go to a web page, right, and then you type command on a Mac, it would be Command F, and on a PC, I think it's Control F,
Mm-hmm.
and type in the keyword that you like. So I went to a site yesterday and I typed in the keyword that the client thought they'd want to rank for. I was like, well, you show up for these two words, but you're missing like the company or agency at the end. It's not on your first page of your website. So does Google know what you are doing? The other thing is, so say keyword research is super confusing and overwhelming, and you're just like, oh my God, I can't deal with this. Go into Search Console and see what you're ranking for and start trying to blend in some of those keywords that the pages are ranking for, and you will increase
Mm-hmm.
your ranking in Google. Like, maybe not by much, but like, if Google thinks you're ranking for something, we need to pay attention to that, right?
Unless it's completely off topic, there is value in seeing that information and trying to boost it.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously you wrote something on that page for a reason, and if it's starting to rank, unless it's completely off topic, it would be worthwhile to try to boost that content that is ranking as well.
Yeah. Your website is a way for you to let people know what you do, and you'll get better over time, right?
Wait, what?
Yes,
Is that what they're for?
I think so. Well, you would be the expert there. I don't know.
I've been using them wrong all these years.
I was wondering about you actually for that reason. I was going to tell you. Anyway,
I spend my entire day roaming the internet for pages that might be interesting to me and typically never come across anything. I should actually search for what I want then?
yes, yes. Try the
Okay.
what if game. So Greg, we are visiting this. Do we call it a channel? We are in this group every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you're not part of the group, it's called Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer. Yeah, long name, but amazing group because we got some hardcore marketers in there that love what they do, and I think that's what it's about. But we meet every Thursday. Greg, do you know what we're meeting about next week?
Um, I don't know if it's me, but the topic will be advanced Google Analytics events and goals.
That's failing in somebody. We know that.
Maybe failing in Marina.
Right? That's actually going to be such an interesting topic if you're interested in learning about analytics. It is not a beginner topic, but it is a really fun topic, and learning about goals and filters is very important. So even just listening to start to get used to the terminology. That's what we're talking about next week. And I don't know what happened, but I think we might have got cut off. So let's say goodbye, Greg.
What? Bye, Greg.
Bye.